not get into more of the charade that is the Ukraine war against Russia. We know that it's manufactured. We know that it's used as a proxy. I mean, even leaders in our own country have admitted to this out in the open that, to quote the words of Adam Schiff, we're using Ukraine as a way to fight Russia over there, so we're not fighting them over here. We know that's manufactured. We know that even top professors have predicted along the journey that we were going to use Ukraine to go against Russia, that the only way to stop this is to neutralize Ukraine, not allow them into NATO, and how NATO expanded into Eastern Europe. They ignored the Minsk Accord, they ignored peace negotiations, and how European nations and the United States, along with NATO and the war machine and the intelligence communities, have pushed alongside this narrative to kind of build the aggression from Ukraine to go against Russia. And all it's done has been building a blowback to the rest of the developed worlds, and how it's affecting us personally back at home with the cost of food, inflation. The sanctions are just out of control. It's insane. You're seeing in Europe that they're burning their energy bills because they've shut off the gas pipelines. It's an utter chaos disaster. But they're still going to tell you to invest into it. They still are telling you that we have to do this for the sanctity of soul of our nation. That somehow this is purposeful and this is our duty as human beings, that we have to sacrifice ourselves to this manufactured war in Ukraine. And we're seeing from top leaders here. Well, here's an example here. This is Hillary Clinton saying this on, I believe this is the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, where she mentioned about Ukraine, and she's going to continue on, even though we know what a disaster it is, what a charade it is, the manufactured. Like I said, if you understand the true history of what's happened in Ukraine with the 2014 coup, the revolutions, the Donbass region, if you read up on the history leading up to this result, you would understand how manufactured this all is. But here's Hillary Clinton on the Tonight Show, still going to tell you that it's our duty and responsibility to continue on this charade. Take a listen to this.
Getting the weapons they need to defend themselves, and they're now on offense. And I think we have to keep supporting them, helping them. They were attacked by an unprovoked act of war. And
I want to stop there, because if she just finished right there, I would actually agree to that. That Ukraine was attacked by an unprovoked action of war. Here's the thing. Russia didn't strike first. It was us. We overthrew their democratically elected government to allow Zelensky and a bunch of Nazis to take over and start this. So, yes, Ukraine got attacked, but it wasn't Russia. Russia did not draw first bow. We did. We were the ones that overthrew Ukraine to allow this process to happen. We manufactured the aggression. We manufactured this crisis. So, sadly, I actually somewhat agree with Hillary Clinton if she stopped there. But she's not. Because she's a Russia-gator. She's a propagandist. She's a red baiter. She's a McCarthy smear. And of course, she's going to go along with the mainstream narrative, the corporate State Department, by saying that somehow in February it was all Russia's idea to storm into Ukraine and cause this chaos. And somehow we got to take Putin down because Putin's responsible for everything.
And they've held out, and they've done better than anybody could have predicted. And Zelensky has been a true wartime leader. I'm so impressed with him.
Absolutely.
And I think, the United States.
So she said Zelensky has been an ultimate wartime hero. And you can hear Jimmy Fallon in the background. It's like, I agree. Absolutely. He's been such a great wartime hero that he's appeared in magazine covers. He went to the United States. He appeared on the Oscars, the Emmys, the Grammys. Yeah, that's definitely the hero that people need to see. A guy in a t-shirt with a swastika on it. That is the wartime hero that people need to champion. He is such a family man, putting Nazi symbolism on his t-shirts. I can't believe this. I can't believe that even after all this, they just can't admit to this. They can't admit that this is an utter failure. They can't admit to the fact that Ukraine is never going to win this war. It's an unwinnable war. You're going against another superpower. It is unbelievably chaotic how crazy this all is. It'd be like if North Korea aligned itself with Mexico to go against the United States. Who do you think's going to win that? It's unbelievably crazy that they're still trying to butter people up and try to scam people even further down this rabbit hole of we got to do what we can, we got to invest in. He's a wartime hero, so we got to do everything we can for Ukraine. And just to show you how much of a great wartime president Zelensky really is, he got invited to the New York Stock Exchange because he's such good at war. You know, the country's in shambles and people are suffering. Yeah, it's a great day to sit at your desk with a t-shirt, the power of freedom. Yeah. Showing off his biceps. I don't know what it is with him and t-shirts. I don't get it. Is that just an ego boost for him? He wants to show off the guns? I don't know. But yeah, he was invited to do the opening bell for the New York Stock Exchange. Now, why would the New York Stock Exchange care about the freedom of Ukraine? They never cared about any other country's freedom, including the United States, ironically. Well, it turns out there's business to be made of the situation, which I always knew that there was going to be some sort of business opportunity, because if you learned anything about war in the last century or even the last few decades, you would understand that there's always a profiteer motive to get involved with these nations. There's no profiteering when it comes to freedom, when it comes to allowing people to have access to clean water, investing in homelessness. There's no profiteering to be made of it. But there's profiteering off of dead bodies and death and disparity of other nations. That's why we went to Afghanistan. That's why we overthrew Libya. That's why we're occupying a third of Syria, and so on and so forth. But here's what he had to say at the New York Stock Exchange and why he's invited to this.
Freedom has different manifestations, but the most important for many is the ability to work for your benefit, for the benefit of your children and the one of your country. In Ukraine, we are fighting for everything that you have. We stand so that every Ukrainian would enjoy all the manifestations of freedom available to a free person in a democratic society. We have achieved significant results. We have united the whole world around our struggle for freedom.
And why would the New York Stock Exchange care about this? You'll find out. Take a listen.
We are liberating Ukrainian territory from the Russian army. We have already started renovating everything that was destroyed by the Russian terror. We are rebuilding our economy. We are giving you and your companies the opportunity to work together with us for the benefit of all us. Ukraine is the story of a future victory and a chance for you to invest now in projects worth of hundreds of billions of dollars to share the victory with us. Today, we kickstart a large-scale promotion campaign to attract investments. Advantage Ukraine. We will tell the world why Ukraine is a place for good investments and financial opportunities.
That is your wartime hero, ladies and gentlemen. The family man, the guy who cares so much about humanity and freedom that he's doing a campaign commercial for the New York Stock Exchange for global investment. That's why they're caring so much about this. That's why the stock exchange cares about freedom in Ukraine. Because there's a business opportunity. He's reaching out to these multi-international corporations. Hey, now that we're liberating our people and promoting democracy, now you can take your billions of dollars and invest in our country. Take our resources. Take down some of our pegs. Because, what the world needs right now, what Ukraine definitely needs in their struggle of survival and this bloodshed of tyranny is another Starbucks. I bet you those neo-Nazis would do so well with an Apple store. Come on. Oh my god. It's like those cheesy campaign commercials for, it sounds like a dean of a college. Like how they do those cheesy commercials where they're like, hey, if you take your tuition and pay us, we'll give you this. You're going to have a great time. Ha! Isn't that right, Tommy? Ha! But now you know why. Now you know why Zelensky is invited to the stock exchange. Why this is such a big thing is because of the fact that he's doing this to convince multinational corporations to invest in Ukraine. It's a business opportunity. It's a business ploy, which is what this whole thing was really about. It's a business ploy for the war machine. It's a business ploy for multinational corporations. It's a business ploy for the neo-Nazis. It's a business ploy for the entire orchestration. And using Ukraine as a proxy to manufacture aggression against Russia. And who suffered the most out of all this? The ordinary people that didn't even want this war to begin with.
I invite you to Ukraine. Invest in Ukraine. This will be your victory and a new success story for your companies. Slava Ukraini. Start your work.
Oh my god. There you go. There you go. So it's a campaign called Advantage Ukraine, and they have, of course, the flag there, and everybody's applauding it. And you know for a fact, again, they don't care about freedom. It's not about the freedom. It's not about the humanity. It's not about anything to do with the people of Ukraine. None of it has anything to do with people. It's all about money, because money talks to them. Money is their whole entire life, and they're using this as an investment opportunity. The bloodshed, the tyranny, the tyrannical efforts of war, all the dead bodies that are compulsing around those nations are giving them cold, hard cash. And now, wartime hero, as Hillary Clinton stated, is demanding the stock exchange to start investing in Ukraine. Because now we're part of the West. Now we're part of the, capitalist organization. Hey, why not put your money over here? Why don't you start building over here? We're starting to invest in our economy. So what? We have a bunch of neo-Nazis and white supremacists and a bunch of people that are orchestrating bombings and suicide attacks and orchestrating, attacks on their own citizens. Wouldn't it be so great to build corporations over here? Wouldn't it be so goddamn great? I mean, come on, the Ukrainian people, of course they can benefit from a Taco Bell. I don't know, just to name a few. But so this is the official letter that the New York Stock Exchange came out with. And it says, President H.E. Volodymyr Zelensky. I don't know what the H.E. is. Is that honorable? President Honorable Volodymyr Zelensky? I don't think that's part of his name. I don't know. Someone can mention that in the comments. To virtually ring New York Stock Exchange opening bell on September 6th to mark the launch of Advantage Ukraine Initiative. President Volodymyr Zelensky will virtually ring the New York Stock Exchange opening to highlight the launch of Advantage Ukraine, an initiative aimed at driving foreign direct investment in Ukraine. I thought we were already doing that. I thought we were already doing the investment part when, America and Joe Biden is sending, billions of dollars in weapons and military aid to Ukraine, or how Trudeau spent millions of dollars investing in Ukraine, or how the European unions have been investing trillions of dollars into Ukraine, which is why we're suffering the biggest inflation mark, which is why we're suffering the highest cost of living, which is why we're having an energy crisis, along with the food crisis, along with everything. They're manufacturing a crisis that's developing other crises. I thought we were already doing this investment, but now we gotta get the corporations involved. Because you can't make fascism with only one half of the sector. Can't just have the government. You also have the corporate alignment. That's what makes true fascism, ladies and gentlemen. Prior to the bell ringing, President Zelensky will meet virtually with New York Stock Exchange President Lynn Martin and other business leaders to discuss the initiative, followed by remarks on the New York Stock Exchange trading floor, inviting businesses around the world to invest in Ukraine's future. Like I said, if you look at every war in the last just few decades, probably even longer, there's always a profiteer motive. There's always a business incentive to be in part of these countries. That's why we went to Afghanistan for 20 straight years. That's why we went to Libya and overthrew their democratically elected government. That's why we're occupying a third of Syria. Even Trump said that it was for the oil. It wasn't for the people. It wasn't for the chemical attacks that we care so much about and liberating those people from a dictator. We love dictators. Ask Saudi Arabia. Ask the president of Israel. We love dictators. We love people that go along with the establishment, go along with the status quo of capitalism. We love it. We don't even care about who the president is. We don't care about the marks against humanity. As long as they stand in line with corporate business and the global capital, bam, you're a shoo-in. And that's what they're doing with this guy. That's what they're doing with Ukraine. It's just another example of the war machine aligned with big business to manufacture a war, manufacture this crisis, and liberate entire nations. I shouldn't say liberate. Exaggerate other nations to allow big corporations to slime in. Just how crazy this is. And it happened in Afghanistan. It's happening all over the place. And as Julian Assange says, it's not about ending the war. It's not about resolution. It's always been about big business. And here's what he reminds us every single day. Even while in captivity, even while being extradited, I'm constantly reminded by these quotes.
Because the goal is not to completely subjugate Afghanistan. The goal is to use Afghanistan to wash money out of the tax bases of the United States, out of the tax bases of European countries, through Afghanistan and back into the hands of a transnational security elite. That is the goal, i.e. the goal is to have an endless war.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? And that is what you saw there, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Hillary Clinton is promoting there on the Tonight Show. That's what Jimmy Fallon agreed to. That's what kind of the liberal left is doing in promoting this Ukraine nonsense. That's what's happening with the stock exchange. That's what Hollywood's doing. That's what the multinational corporations that are involved in this. They're manufacturing the goal of endless war. Endless war for business opportunity. Not to liberate people, not to help people, not to help humanity or any of the freedom or any of the buzzwords that they say on mainstream media, because that is all a front. That is all a front. That is propaganda 101 to make you feel like you're doing your part. To manufacture sincerity and empathy when really they're not doing any of it. They're not doing jack shit for the people of Ukraine, for the people that have truly suffered the harsh realms of this war. And it's not only affecting people in Ukraine, it's also affecting the people of Russia. It's affecting the people around other nations. It's affecting people back home. It's affecting people of Europe. That's why they're standing up and rallying against this. It has nothing to do with humanity. This is a manufactured charade of the war machine to manufacture aggression against another superpower, bring us even closer to nuclear annihilation in order for a business opportunity. That's all this really is about. And they don't care if Ukraine suffers. They don't care if those people have died. If mothers, sons, fathers, daughters, kids of all ages, people of all ages, senior citizens, they don't care who suffers over there. They really don't goddamn care. As long as the stock exchange can do multi-international business negotiations with Ukraine, as long as they can bolster more weapons, as long as Raytheon and Lockheed Martin can make a quick paycheck off this, as long as NATO nations can collect all the financial assets of other countries, they don't care. They really don't care. Because the goal is not a winnable war. The goal is not to finish the war. The goal is endless war to continue on big business. That's what Julian Assange said about Afghanistan, and the same is true about Ukraine. And people have waken up to that. Just unfortunately not blue check people on Twitter. Or the people that put the Ukraine flag emoji on and thinking that they're a powerful patriot. Because, it's just making you feel like a chump. It's just making you... It's exposing yourself to see that you're part of the propaganda. Because people have woken up to this. They're realizing what an utter failure and atrocity this really is.